Today does mark the beginning of the end for Bungie as a studio. It was announced earlier today that Bungie would be impacted by layoffs as Sony tries to reorganize the studio. Effectively, 45 to 55% of Bungie staff was laid off. As of 2024, Bungie was reported to have 850 employees. So if the percentage was correct, anywhere from 300 to 500 people could be laid off. Bungie's own statement claims, as leaders of Bungie, past and present, we recognize Destiny 2 fell short of expectations these past several years. Following our final content update of Destiny 2, and with our future projects still in early incubation, we unfortunately could not continue operating at our previous size. We know this decision has a profound impact on the people affected, their families, friends, and teammates. While these changes are necessary to best position the studio now and for the future, it does not lessen the difficulty of this moment or the impact it has had on those affected. And honestly, this just sounds like the studio is cooked. They claim they have early projects in early incubation. That could just mean they have concept art started. There's no real gears turning for any projects that we know of. Destiny 3 is not in development, and that's practically confirmed with all the Destiny team getting laid off, and the only people that are still staying are those working on Marathon, and who knows how long that's going to keep going, seeing as Marathon was not that huge success that they were hoping it was going to be. And honestly, it's sad to see a studio with such legendary titles go under. Halo 1 through 3, Reach, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, just to meet its demise by mismanagement, which it seems like was always a problem with Bungie ever since its conception. I was reading somewhere that Microsoft was having trouble with Bungie, with them getting anything done unless a fire was lit under their ass. And honestly, that tracks. I believe the only reason why Destiny was ever good or even made was because Activision was constantly on them about getting work done, and they were able to instill some kind of structure for Bungie to be effective. I remember back a few years ago, I forgot exactly when, everybody labeled Activision as the enemy. Activision is the enemy. Once Bungie breaks away from Activision, Destiny's gonna thrive again. It's gonna be great. And then Bungie does break away from Activision, and you know what happens? We enter into a content drought because Bungie has no idea how to handle its IPs. And it's just ironic that the last expansion for Destiny, this universe filled with rich lore that goes pages and pages, hours, tens of hours of lore, is a Star Wars inspired chapter. It really just shows that Bungie was creatively bankrupt and have no ideas what to do post Final Shape. The writing has been on the wall for a while, and we just got confirmation. And it's such a shame because Destiny 2 always feels like it was one overhaul, one expansion away from getting back the players it has lost over the years. What really stings is that IGN even reports that a Destiny 2 relaunch rebranded as Destiny Infinity was discussed but ultimately dismissed. And I feel like this is exactly what Destiny needed to get back on the radar of many gamers, myself included. I absolutely love Destiny 1 and has some of my favorite memories of gaming. I remember being in 6th grade in Destiny 1. I would get home from school on Fridays, complete my heroic nightfall, go to basketball practice, get back from basketball practice, do my raids, Crota's End, Ball the Glass, maybe do one of them on Friday, do one of them the next day, and I would keep that routine for close to a year. Obviously, the raids changed, but that was the structure I followed. And just the memories I had being some of the first people to go flawless inside of Trials of Osiris. That first weekend it came out, that Saturday, I went flawless, and it was such a great feeling. Also, getting the Galahorn year one was an amazing feeling as well. I remember it was after the Witch stage in Crota's End. I believe that's the only other time you can get an exotic inside of that raid. I got the Galahorn. My whole fire team just left. They didn't even say anything. It says NREP 117 got the Galahorn. And you just see so-and-so has departed, so-and-so has departed. It was such a core memory that I will never forget. Because those of you that have played Destiny 1 year one, you were blacklisted from a lot of events unless you had the Galahorn. So getting it was a huge deal, especially because year one, Xur only sold it within the first month of Destiny 1 launching when it wasn't fully discovered how powerful it was. And after that, you would need it. It would be a requirement for raids and other endgame activities. You would not be invited to other people's fire teams unless you had it, and it was completely RNG. But when Destiny 2 came around, I never got that same spark that I had with Destiny 1 year 1 and year 2. I even felt some of the sparks start to fade in Taken King, but I still played the hell out of it. But with Destiny 2, I don't know what it was. I think how they redid the gear system left a bad taste in my mouth, and what the final nail in the coffin was is that I did not like how the Leviathan raid was structured, to the point where I just didn't feel the need to play Destiny anymore. What was the point of grinding if I didn't like the endgame content offered? And over the years, I always wanted to get back into Destiny 2. I believe Forsaken, I got back into it for like about a month, but there's always something holding me back, and I feel like it's just very intimidating to try to get back into Destiny because you're like, all right, I have to get this expansion, but then I have to get the other two previous expansions to be caught up with the story. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm paying like $80, and on top of that $80 that you're paying, you have to buy the battle pass into it, because it's not just cosmetics. There's exotic engrams in there that help you progress and get new exotic weapons. So it's not like we're what it's like inside of Overwatch, inside of Marvel Rivals, inside of Fortnite, where everybody's playing the same game. No, every year you have to buy the new expansion, and you kind of have to buy the battle passes if you really want to keep up with people. On top of that, there is still cosmetics that are locked behind a paywall. Really, what Destiny 2 needed was a soft relaunch. And if Destiny Infinity was true, and if it actually did happen, I believe Destiny would be a thriving franchise right now, similar to how Overwatch is. Destiny just needed to put all players back on the same level and allow new players to get in without feeling left behind immediately. They needed to make all previous expansions free, and maybe they advertise the relaunch as a new game almost, where it's like, okay, this new game is going to be $39.99. You get access to the first year of content for Destiny Infinity. You get access to all previous expansions, and there's this new hub that we have. There's a new system for how light works, something like that. Something where there's enough new concepts where new players don't feel left behind and old players feel like there's something new to explore. But we never got that, and honestly, I have no idea what Sony's plan was for Bungie and Destiny as a whole post Final Shape. Acquiring a studio for $3.6 billion and not instantly putting in a Destiny 3 or some kind of Destiny relaunch, and instead banking that $3.6 billion on Marathon just seems completely foolish, and honestly, I don't know what they were thinking. It's like they thought decades of bad studio habits were going to fix itself overnight and deliver an absolute banger title, and that just didn't happen. You're not going to have the launch that Fortnite had. You're not going to have the launch that Marvel Rivals had or that Apex had. Those were unicorns. They should not be the determining factor if your game is successful or not. Now, Marathon is struggling to keep players engaged, and I'm glad that Sony hasn't completely given up on Marathon for the people that do enjoy it. I try to get into it. It's just not my type of game. My friends wouldn't play it. I was just getting destroyed, and I'm like, you know what? Extraction shooters just aren't my thing. Maybe it's a skill issue. Point is, I didn't have fun, but I wanted the people that are having fun in Marathon to continue to receive content, because it does seem like a game that has a bunch of potential. But Sony chasing trends instead of making a game that's timeless really bit them in the ass here. It is really just sad to see Bungie go under. I feel horrible for all the families that are affected. And it seems like in the gaming world, if your game is successful or your game isn't successful, you get laid off regardless. I am very curious on what Bungie has in development, because as far as we know, nothing is in development. If these titles will actually ever come out or even see an announcement, or if Bungie is just going to be absorbed by Sony, which I feel like that's the most likely case. I still don't understand the concept of acquiring a studio for $3.6 billion and not doing anything with them. If Bungie gets absorbed, I don't think Destiny 3 is ever going to happen. Look at the backlog of famous Sony titles that they just refuse to bring back into the modern era of gaming. Destiny is going to be the same thing, where it's just going to be rotting away inside the rights cage of Sony and never seeing a third release. I really am doubting the release of a third Destiny or any new Destiny content. And this really does feel like the end of Destiny and Bungie as a whole. Anyway, press F to pay respects for Bungie. It's a really unfortunate situation for everyone around, and I truly feel like this was so avoidable, and it was just bad management that has got us in this situation. And it truly does make me thankful for Activision and Xbox for not giving up on Overwatch as a whole. This game was in a terrible state in 2023 and 2024, where it seemed like there was no good content in sight. The content drops we were getting were really dry, and with the review bomb on Steam, this game could have easily ended there. But instead, Blizzard turned it around. They released Stadium, they released Perks, they released 6v6, and then we have the huge overhaul at the beginning of 2026, where the game is striving and thriving again. Despite all my problems I have with the cosmetics, the gameplay itself is fun and content will always be free. Someone that spends $50 on cosmetics versus the person that spends $1,000 on cosmetics versus the person that spends $0 on cosmetics, everybody is playing the same exact game. But what I think I truly learned from Destiny and Bungie's failure is that no game is promised support. You go back 2 years and tell people, hey, Destiny's going to end support in 2 years. After the Final Shape just came out, they're going to look at you crazy. Like, there's no way this game is going to cut support. It just had its best content drop in a very long time, and the game's future looks bright. It just goes to show that no game is 100% invincible. The same thing can happen with Overwatch, with Fortnite, with Marvel Rivals. Now, it's extremely unlikely, but the likelihood isn't zero, and Destiny has shown us that. What do you think is going to become of Bungie? Do you think Sony's just going to absorb them? Do you think they're going to try to sell them off? Do you think Bungie's still going to be a studio in the next year? I'm curious on what you guys think about everything and just how you feel about everything as a whole. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.